Welcome to DC Vigilante. So did the title of this video piss you off? Some of you are probably angry and say, oh, that's just clickbait, what are we talking about and everything else. Listen, I've got to come up with a title. Okay, I've got to come up with something that covers what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so as we know, Avengers is in the cinema. And of course it's made a lot of money. And it's probably in the record books by now, or whatever. But I've also noticed a lot of people commenting that it was not good. Plot holes and everything else, and maybe the way the characters turned up. I don't know. To be honest, I don't care, because as I say, it's said on the radio today, so many people, it's probably covered most of the people on the planet have seen it. Not me. I'm actually proud to say, and I'll probably repeat this in the next video, I'm proud to say I will not see it, because it just isn't for me. Okay, and you're allowed to have that opinion. And I'm quite proud, being a DC supporter, that, again, that's next video, and it's just what I believe and what I think, especially when it's being copied off of somebody else's work. Again, check my other videos. I'll leave a link somewhere there at the end of it. Please check it out, it'll fill you in. So the reason why I've said Avengers is a flop, it's not to say it's a flop, right? If you like it and you enjoy it, is good. And you're probably saying, oh, it's made so much money. It's not a flop. It's made, and I'm going to tell you, listen, just because a film makes a lot of money doesn't mean it's a big, huge success. Success financially, yes, but then you can look at the smaller films. Right? I'm not going to mention DC films. You look at the small ones, and you see the small movies that have made money, might have even had some critics respond well to it and given a good cinema score and all that. Again, that doesn't really say that the film's a success. Right? For me, you know, a small movie made, you know, that got billions over what it was made of, right? Does that make it success? No. No, it just means it's been well marketed, well advertised, and they struck gold on the timing of the film and everything else. Now, the Avengers, thanks to Disney, had spent 10 years building up the storyline. And if these films were really successful, then every single film should be like $1 billion. But again, it didn't. It didn't make those big numbers, right? Yeah, you had doozies in the middle of it. Now, I don't know the Rotten Tomato score in this, but I haven't checked. Right? But knowing that is Marvel, then I can no doubt guess by the biased reviews it would be good, because Marvel films always somehow get good reviews. And again, I've talked about that in other videos. But it is, for me, we forget what makes a successful film. And what would I deem a successful film? For me, it would be films that are constantly talked about. Films that are regarded as classics. Films that you would watch maybe once or twice or whatnot, and go home and start talking about it with your friends and everything else, and debating. You know, that to me is a successful film, and I don't think you get this. You don't get that with Endgame. As far as I've noticed with all the tweets and the YouTube videos, there seems to be a disappointment in the fans. They were expecting something different. The film had so many plot holes and everything. So that again having a film with plot holes means that it's not been written well. That not and that again is a reason to say if a film is a success, if the film is actually made very well. Now, BVS, when it first came out, I wouldn't say that was a success, but I would definitely say BVS Ultimate Cut is a bigger success. And the reason why I would say that is because when you watch BVS Ultimate Edition, it covers everything. You know, it answers a lot. It sets the story up. It delivers a groundbreaking moments in it and stuff like that. And it was an original idea. Right? And there was nothing like that before. You know, on a grand scale, it was unique. Well, we take something like Endgame, and of course that, and oh, wait a minute. So for BVS Ultimate Edition, if that came out first or whatever, for me, that would have been a success because it did make money, and also it was daring, it was risky, it was pushing the boundaries, and people were talking about it. But you take films like the Avengers or any sort of Marvel Disney film or whatever, and you don't get that much response from any of these films. You know, you don't get the reason why this was bound to be a success because it had a formula. It had something that you could. It had something that you could rely on. You know, it was like getting something from your granny. You knew what you were getting. And because of that, you went for it. Now, something like now Games of Thrones, which is for me better than anything Marvel or I don't know, not as much BVS, but it's up there. And that's came out because it was unique. Nobody stole anything from it and whatnot. And it's on the TV. It introduced people to this fantasy realm that maybe the normal person hasn't seen. Marvel hasn't really done that. Now you can think with me. It's because Superman's been out before, Batman's been out before, right? People know what superheroes are, right? They get the formula, or they thought they did by sticking too much in the past. But again, it wasn't risky. For me, a successful film is something that has not been done before, that it stands on its own, and that has the majority of people liking it and talking about it and everything else. But for me, it has nothing to do with how much money it makes at the box office. Because the money it makes at the box office is just people that were curious or interested and then they go and see it. And that doesn't make a good movie. How much a movie makes, that doesn't make. I mean, we think about Avatar, okay? I had seen Avatar on the iMac, and it was, it was one of the biggest things that James Cameron did, and for me, the story wasn't new, it wasn't unique. I always thought it was a wee bit like Dances with Wolves. And for me, that sort of story in Avatar, again, apart from just Dances with Wolves, it was something that's been done before, apart from using alien life forms and everything else. But that made a lot of money. Was it success? Financially, yes, but I wouldn't call it a successful film. Because nobody really talks about it. I think I've watched it about twice or something like that, and that's it. But this is my own interpretation. And what I want you to do is think about the film that you've either just seen or a film that's made loads of money. Titanic, for instance, okay? Everybody knew the story. Everybody knew where it was going to end. It made a lot of money. Again, was it successful films? Well, how many, was it successful films financially? Yes, but how many times have you watched Titanic? Seriously, could you stomach watching it again? So it's all these factors for me that makes a film successful. And it's just unfortunately we're living in a world where people are getting used to the same thing. They're not wanting to try new things. I mean, my partner's the same, right? If a thing comes on about superheroes, she's not all that bothered about it. If there's a thriller or a horror film, she's not all that bothered about it. She won't bother going and see it. So, but you get something that, and you get a formula that convinces people like that to go and see these films. The first time, you know, as in, you know, Games of Thrones. I mean, that to me is you know, because somebody that may have not watched Lord of the Rings or Games of Thrones. Now, I liked, you know, Lord of the Rings. I was brought up on it, but for me, Games of Thrones is way above that now. So, but it's got my wife interested in it, and she wouldn't be interested to watch that, you know, on a day-to-day basis. And if it was a movie, you know, it would have they managed it, but because it's a TV series, hence, well, there, wait a minute, there's the proof there. Because it's a TV series, we know what we're going to get, and we're watching it. You know, we're tuning in. It doesn't matter if there's a bad episode or not, whatnot, right? We're watching the series, and now it's coming to the grand finale. And I just heard on the radio that so many billions of people or whatnot watched the start of Games of Thrones, you know, the latest season. I've got people coming up to me wanting at last to borrow the box set, and exactly that is what you have with Marvel. You have something of the norm. Doesn't mean it's a great film or a TV series, but it's just because it's took so long to get to the end that you know, it was bound to make money. But that doesn't mean that the end product, the end chapter of the franchise is good. You know, the first episode may have been brilliant, the second season may have been okay, the third season may be bad and whatnot. Again, just because it's a part of a franchise, that and because it makes money, it's like they can make anything now with those ingredients, and it will make money. But that doesn't make a success for me. You know, for me, it's risk taking. It's different things involved into making a movie successful. But maybe these guys will explain it better, okay? So check these links out, and before you comment, check this guy out, whatever, and then leave your comment below. Thank you.